everything you could possibly want to know, and probably, to be honest, a fair bit more about Lindybeige shirts.
It has happened that someone has said to me, Lloyd, don't you ever wash your shirt? Because what they've observed, you see, is that I'm wearing a shirt like this with a rounded collar, and it's sort of plain beige, and they've concluded that it must be the same shirt that I was wearing yet that they saw me in yesterday and the day before and the day before that. And the mistake, you see, they've made is it hadn't occurred to them that I might actually have been wearing this beige shirt with a sort of rounded collar instead. Or then again, I might have been wearing this one, which, as you see, is a slightly more sort of yellowy beige, but it's easy to mistake in certain lights. Or this one, I believe this particular shade of beige calls itself Desert Dust. Or there's this sort of greeny beige shirt with a rounded collar. Maybe they weren't paying attention, and it could have been this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. My point is I do have quite a lot of these beige shirts, and it's very convenient. It's very easy to decide what to wear in the morning, and beige clashes with nothing, except possibly that horrible shade of purple, you know the one? But then that shade of purple clashes with everything, so that doesn't really count. No, I would say that beige pretty much goes with anything I might want to wear, which is fine. So if I want to wear this shirt, or this shirt as well, then I can, knowing that I'll be fine. And if they're dirty, well, I could always wear this shirt, or this one, or possibly this one, or this one, I do have a lot of these shirts, I suppose is the point I'm making, but you can never have too many beige shirts. At least I haven't discovered that it's possible. Now, a surprising number of watchers of my channel have written in asking me where I get my shirts because they quite like some for themselves. I say a surprising number, it's probably actually fewer than a dozen if I'm honest, but that to me is still a surprising number. Hitherto I haven't proven much of a fashion icon. Well, sorry to disappoint, but I'm afraid I can't name a shop. There is no mail order, Lloydian style, rounded collar, plain beige shirt manufacturer that you can find online. Possibly I should go into business selling these shirts, but I suspect I wouldn't make a huge amount of money. What I do is I make shirts myself. Generally I convert them from shirts readily available in the markets. Now sometimes I can find a beige shirt, in which case I of course snap it up immediately, but by and large beige shirts don't seem to have made much of an impact on the world market, and instead I end up having to get white shirts, these are from Marks and Spencer's, and then dye them beige. Now hang on, the chances are, if you're watching this video and are one of my subscribers, then there's a 93% chance that you're male, and you probably really like axes, and you consider yourself to be fully grown, and some of you might conceivably at this point be saying, he's talking about dyeing shirts, why isn't he talking about axes? I subscribe to hear about axes, and now he's talking about some girly stuff. I can't dye shirts. What do you mean you can't dye shirts? You're a fully grown man. If dyeing shirts is girly, effectively you're saying, well, it's so easy, a girl could do it. Well, if a girl could do it, then surely a fully grown man should be able to do it. Don't you want these shirts to be beige? Why limit yourself? So, if you want some beige shirts and can't find any, you can just get some white shirts and dye them beige. Now, there are various dyes available. This one is called Dylon, but other brands are available. And when I first started dyeing stuff, it was actually quite a bit of a faff. You had to buy fixatives and there were several stages to it. But now it's dead simple. Thank goodness for modern chemistry. And all you need is just one packet of dye and some salt and you're away. So really you've got no excuse. Come on, get dyeing things beige today. Obviously there's some effort involved. You do have to take the shirts out of the packet. Do please remember to do that much. But once they're out of the packet, all you need to do is just shove them in. There we go. And then add the dye and the salt and you're away. And you can be dyeing things beige. Come on, do the thing. It'll go round in a minute and start doing its thing. And I don't know, it'll take about an hour and then I'll have some beige shirts. And I think the world will be better for it. It'll do, come on. There we go, at last it's doing it. Right, now to see if they've come out. Yeah, that's pretty much beige. So, now to convert the collars. One thing you might consider doing is removing this label in the back there, because frankly, who cares where you bought the shirt, and that's just going to make the shirt a bit less comfortable. Right, next look, do that colour, and we'll get light, off colour, just like that, both sides. Right, then, open that colour, open up the seam right way down the bottom here, just above the top button, and then open it up. It can be quite brutal. That way, now this one has a flat layer of cloth, and in that thick, stiff layer of cloth, I then draw the line of the shirt that I want it to be, so something like that. This is going to have to be folded inwards, that way, like that, and then this one will have to be folded inwards that way. We put the two together, so, and then, hey presto, that's pretty much how we finish it. As long as we sew neatly, it'll be fine. If you can't sew, here's how to sew. Get a needle, put it through the cloth, bring it back, tie it again, and then put it through, bring it around, again, keep going, that's not averagely coordinated, and averagely nice, and there you go, you now know how to sew. Now, years ago, I was working as a trainee at a television studios in Pilor, and for some reason there were loads of lesbians working at this studio. I don't know why, but they were. And one of them, just one, was horrendous. She was a feminist. Well, perhaps I shouldn't use the word feminist, because really to call her a feminist is an insult to feminists. She loathed men. She saw men as the enemy to be resisted and hated, and she really did not like me. Beard, baritone voice, war army trousers, lots of pockets, you know. I was sort of a bit manly and therefore evil in her eyes. Anyway, she came into a room once to deliver a message to the various trainees, and she had a lot of trouble giving us the message because she was just transfixed by me. I was sewing a Velcro patch to repair a jacket of mine, and she just couldn't take her eyes off me, and she was just standing there trying to say things to the room, but looking, not me in the eye, you understand, just looking at my hands, at what I was doing, and she found it very difficult to speak whilst seeing what she was seeing. Eventually she managed to say, "Are you sewing?" Quite a lot of potential replies occurred to me, but in the end the one I plumped for was yes. She had no comeback for that. She tried to reply, but instead she just fled to the room. Her tiny little bigoted, narrow mind couldn't cope with me sewing, because I was a man with a beard sewing. Well, you know, when you join the army, one of the first things they teach you in basic training is how to sew. If you're in the front line and one of the buttons comes off your trousers, you can't send them home to mum. You've just got to fix them yourself. You'd be a pretty useless soldier, frankly, if you couldn't sew on a button. So there's nothing unmanly about being able to sew. Tailors, that's a male profession. So give it a whirl, and if anyone actually does make one of these shirts, I will be staggered. Please do send in a photo of it, please. That would be a bit weird, actually. I really don't expect anyone actually to do this particular conversion. As I recall, if you wanted to be a seamstress in Napoleon's time and land a contract to supply uniforms to the army, you had to do 22 stitches per inch. And going by that measure, I think I might possibly qualify. I don't know. I've been wearing shirts done this way for 20 years and I've never ever had to repair a collar. First one off the production line took me about an hour, I think, all said. I was listening to the radio though, and the time flew by. So there you go. I don't expect anyone to do this. Start with a new shirt, I would, but you could always convert an old one as well. I don't know what more to say. There is no more to say!